Hey there, welcome to my channel. I'm here to help you relax tonight. Though before you get too cozy, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. Let's enjoy the story. You probably think cornfields are just fields. Boring, empty, maybe creepy at night, but that's it. These three people would fight you on that. All three of them swore what they're about to tell you actually happened. No gore, no monsters jumping out, just fields that twist your brain, bend time, and mess with what you think is real. Listen all the way through, because the last story makes the first two feel a lot worse. I'm not a superstitious guy. I work nights at a shipping warehouse. I listen to true crime podcasts. I play too many horror games. I scroll past those true horror stories on Reddit and think, yeah, right. So when my friend Nate asked me to watch his family's farm for a weekend, I didn't think twice. Free place to stay, little extra cash, quiet. His parents were out of town and he had to go back to campus early. So it was just going to be me, a farmhouse, and a huge cornfield out back. I'd grown up in the suburbs, so the whole middle of nowhere vibe was kind of cool at first. Big sky, crickets, no traffic sounds, just open space and that massive cornfield behind the house, rows and rows disappearing into the dark. The first weird thing was the rules. We were standing on the back porch when Nate handed me the keys. Oh, also, he said, like he'd almost forgotten, don't go all the way into the field at night. Stick to the edge if you gotta check something, but don't walk between the rows. I laughed. Why not? Coyote's gonna file a complaint? He didn't laugh back. He just kinda looked past me at the corn, like he was checking something. It's easy to get turned around, he said. Happened to my cousin once. He was like 10 feet in and swore he walked for an hour. Dad had to pull him out. Just don't, okay? He said it casual, but his fingers were locked tight around the railing. I shrugged it off and said sure. He left around twilight. The sky went purple, then black. I made some boxed mac and cheese, messed around on my phone, watched trashy YouTube videos. Around midnight, I finally closed the laptop and went to lock up. And that's when I heard it. Soft, way out in the dark, coming from the direction of the cornfield. Someone counting. 5, 6, 7? It was faint, like it was being carried on the breeze. I froze at the back door, hand on the lock, and leaned closer to the glass. Crickets chirped, the old porch light buzzed, and underneath that, 8, 9, 10? It didn't sound like a kid or anything, more like someone murmuring to themselves. No emotion, just counting. Have you ever tried to convince yourself something's normal when your body is screaming that it's not? That was me. I told myself it was a radio, or one of those talking toys in the barn, or some animal making a weird noise. I locked the door, shut off the lights, and went to bed. The counting went on for a long time. I woke up around 3 a.m. to what I thought was my phone alarm. That annoying default ringtone, the one everybody has. Except my phone screen was dark, no alarm set. The sound wasn't coming from my nightstand, it was coming from outside. The ringtone was echoing from the corn. That woke me up fast. I got out of bed, walked to the back window, and stood there, fully awake, listening. My ringtone stopped. Crickets took over. Then, from the same place, 11, 12, the voice again. Still calm, still counting. I stood there, arguing with myself. Part of me wanted to stay in the house and wait for morning, because, yeah, it was creepy, but what was I gonna do? Call 911 and say, hey, numbers are happening outside? The other part of me was pissed off. This was my friend's family farm. If someone was out there messing around, I didn't want to be the idiot who ignored it. So I grabbed Nate's flashlight from the kitchen, slipped on my shoes, and stepped out the back door. The air felt colder than it had any right to be. The porch light made this yellow circle that stopped dead at the start of the cornfield. The stalks were taller than me, packed tight, leaves rustling against each other. The counting was clearer now. 13. 14. I swept the flashlight across the first few rows. Nothing but green and shadows. No movement. "Hello?" I called. "Hey, who's out there?" The counting stopped. Silence. I knew what Nate had said about not going in at night. I remembered. I also remembered that this was literally my one job. I stepped off the porch and walked to the edge of the field, shining the light between the rows. Dry dirt, broken leaves, the black tunnel the stalks made when they leaned in over the path. Nobody. "You okay out there?" I tried again. My breath puffed in the beam of light. "If you're messing with me, seriously, dude, not funny." Nothing. I took one more step forward. Just enough that my shoes were between the first two rows. Not in the field, I told myself, just at the edge. The flashlight flickered. For half a second, the beam died, and in that half second, from somewhere deeper in the corn, the voice whispered right in my ear, like it was inches away. 15. The light came back on. The row in front of me was empty. Nobody. Just corn. I did not go all the way in. I backed up, slowly, without turning around, until my feet hit the porch. Then I turned, went inside, locked the door, and sat at the kitchen table, breathing too fast and feeling like an idiot. I stayed there until the sky outside the window started going gray. The next day, everything felt normal. No weird vibes, no ghostly math class. Nate texted around noon. "Farm okay?" I stared at the message for a full minute, wanting to ask him about the counting. Instead, I wrote, "Yeah, all good. Your field is annoying, though." He sent back a laughing emoji, and then, "Don't go into the rows at night, bro, for real." I told myself I'd dreamed it. Sleep paralysis, some half-awake hallucination, whatever. The human brain is a mess. I stayed busy all day, doing the little chores Nate's parents had left on the list. Check the chicken coop, make sure the barn doors were latched, stuff like that. By the time sunset hit, I'd almost convinced myself I was fine. Then I went to bring in the scarecrow. I didn't even know that was a thing people did. But on the list, handwritten in shaky blue ink, it said, "Before dark, bring in scarecrow from north edge." The north edge of the field was a good walk from the house, past the barn and a line of trees. The scarecrow was standing at the end of a row, straw arms stretched out, hat tipped over its painted-on eyes. It was ugly in that generic, harmless way. As I got closer, though, something about it bothered me. Some scarecrows look goofy, you know? They lean weird, clothes flapping, like they're half fallen apart. This one stood straight. Too straight. Like someone had told a person, stand exactly like a scarecrow, and they were trying really hard. I told myself I was being stupid and grabbed it under the arms. Up close, I saw that its eyes weren't painted. They were buttons. Big black buttons sewn into the sackcloth head with heavy, uneven stitches. As I hauled it back toward the barn, one of its sleeves brushed my neck. The fabric was cold. I dumped it just inside the barn door, shut the door, and locked it. No way that thing was watching me from the field after dark. That night, I went to bed early. I left a podcast playing on my phone, turned the volume up just loud enough that any weird noises outside would get drowned out. I was not going to play detective again. It didn't work. I woke up, again, sometime around 3. No phone alarm this time, no ringtone, just quiet. And then, right under my window, so close it might have been inside the room, the counting started again. 16. The word rolled through the dark like someone had whispered it into the mattress. I locked up so carefully, I know I did. But every horror story narrator says that. I swear I locked the door. I'm aware. I stayed frozen on my back, eyes on the ceiling, listening. 17, 18. The voice walked around the house. You could hear it move, like the numbers were footsteps. It circled the building, the way you might walk around a tent, trailing your fingers along the outside. On 19, the floorboard right next to my bed creaked. I snapped. "Stop it," I said, louder than I meant to. My voice shook. "Whatever you are, just stop." The counting cut off like someone hit mute. Silence pressed in, so heavy it hurt my ears. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. I flinched a foot into the air before I realized it was just a text. I grabbed it like it was a life raft. The message was from an unknown number. It said, "Don't talk to it." That woke me up more than anything else had so far. I texted back without thinking. "Who is this?" 3 dots popped up. Then, Nate. I didn't have his number saved as Nate in this phone. I had his full name. But okay, maybe he'd changed phones. Whatever. "How did you know I said something?" I wrote. No response. "Dude, seriously," I added. "What's with the counting?" The bubbles appeared again. Took a long time. Then, "Stay in the house. Do not go between the rows. Do not answer it." Before I could type anything else, my phone died. Battery from 68% to black screen in 1 second. The counting started again, but now it sounded like it was coming from everywhere at once. 19, 20. I wanted to call him on the landline, ask him what the hell was going on, but that meant leaving the bedroom, walking past the window, past the floorboard that had creaked without anyone stepping on it. I stayed in bed, fists clenched around my dead phone, and listened. The voice went up to 23 and stopped. Just stopped. No footsteps walking away, no door, nothing. After a long time, the birds started singing. Morning slid in through the blinds. I finally got up, legs feeling like rubber, and tested the floorboard beside the bed. The corn pushed back. That's the only way to explain it. The stalks seemed to lean into me, scratch at my arms, snag my shirt. Not hard enough to hurt, but enough to slow me down. Enough to make me feel like I was trying to walk in deep water. 26, 27. The voice sounded closer now, right behind my left shoulder, then right behind my right. The same word, slightly out of sync, like it was testing which angle worked better. I refused to look back. I kept pushing. At some point, I started talking out loud, just to hear my own voice. "You don't get to do this," I muttered. "You're a field. You're plants. This is stupid." The counting cut off. In the sudden silence, I heard my own words come back to me, whispered from 3 different directions at once. "You don't get to do this. You're a field. This is stupid." Exactly the way I'd said them. Same tone, same little hitch in the middle. I almost fell. My legs locked up for a second. I swallowed hard and forced them to move again. Leaves tore at my arms. The sky flickered between the stalks, bright then dim, like clouds were sprinting across the sun. The dirt under my shoes felt uneven, sloping when I was sure the land was flat. I don't know how long I fought my way forward. My brain turned into a loop. Don't look back. Don't answer it. Get out. Eventually, my foot hit something solid that wasn't dirt. A step. Then another. I looked up and saw the porch steps. I'd come out of the field directly in front of the back door, even though I was sure I'd gone in from the side. Behind me, the rustling stopped. The field went completely still. I didn't turn around. I went inside, shut the door, locked it, and slid down it to the floor. I sat there, shaking, staring at the window. Across the glass, a shadow moved. Something, walked past the outside of the house. I couldn't see a body, just the suggestion of one in the way the light shifted. It paused in front of the door. The floorboard next to me creaked, and in my own voice, whispered through the wood, it said, 28. I left the next morning. Didn't wait for Nate's parents, didn't finish the weekend. I shoved his keys through the mail slot, got in my car, and drove until there were more buildings than trees. Nate doesn't talk to me anymore. He thinks I bailed for no reason and made up some bullshit story when he asked why. I haven't told him the rest. Last week, my phone buzzed at 2:13 a.m., woke me up out of a dead sleep, unknown number. The message just said, 29. I blocked the number, turned off my phone, tried to go back to sleep. Couldn't, because now there's this question stuck in my head that won't leave. If I never went back to that field, if I got out, who or what is it still counting? And what happens when it hits 30? This happened last summer, when life was falling apart in slow motion. My best friend was getting married. I was supposed to be happy for her, and I was, mostly, but I'd just broken up with my boyfriend of 5 years, moved into a tiny apartment, and lost my job in the same month. So when she invited me to her low-key bachelorette weekend at this cute Airbnb out in the country, I said yes, mostly because I didn't know how to say, I don't want you to see how miserable I am. The Airbnb listing looked nice. White farmhouse, big porch, fairy lights, rustic charm in the description. The main photo was of a sunset over a cornfield, the stalks glowing orange and gold. I didn't think much of it. We caravanned out there in 2 cars, 5 of us, blasting music and screaming old songs out the windows. By the time we pulled up the gravel driveway, the sun was low, and the whole field next to the house was this soft, dark wall, rustling in the breeze. It's pretty, someone said. I had that weird feeling you get when you walk into an empty house for the first time, like the walls are listening. But the inside was cute. Mismatched furniture, big old kitchen table, framed pictures of barns and wildflowers. I dropped my bag in the smallest bedroom, the one facing the corn. That's important. The first night was normal. We cooked pasta, drank too much wine, played dumb games where everyone had to answer embarrassing questions. At some point, we migrated to the porch with a speaker and a blanket. The cornfield was right there. At night, it didn't look like plants anymore, just a black sheet, taller than us, hiding everything behind it. When the wind blew, it didn't sound like leaves. It sounded like whispering. Okay, that's creepy, my friend Tara said, hugging her knees. Tell me that doesn't sound like people talking. Corn ghosts, the bride joked. They're mad we're eating tortilla chips. Everyone laughed. I laughed too, but my eyes stayed on the field. It really did sound like voices. Not words exactly, just the rise and fall of talking. Like a room full of people muttering behind a closed door. We turned the music up a little and pretended not to hear it. I woke up that night to someone knocking on the window. 3 knocks, soft but clear. I sat up, heart already pounding. The room was dim blue from the moon. The curtains were half open. The window looked straight out at the corn. There was nobody there. No shadow, no outline of a person, nothing. Just the field, black and massive. The closest row of stalks, maybe 10 feet from the glass. I told myself it was a tree branch or something, even though there were no trees on that side of the house. I lay back down. Knock. Right above my head this time. Just once. Who is it? I whispered, because apparently my survival instinct is broken. Silence. I waited, holding my breath, every muscle tight. That's when I heard it. Jenna? It was a kid's voice, high, shaky, right outside the window, saying my name. Every hair on my arms went up. "Jenna, let me in," it whispered. "I'm cold." My heart was going so fast I thought I might pass out. My name, not hey or miss, my actual name. "Who's there?" I asked. "How do you know my name?" Nothing. The corn rustled, softly, like someone walking away. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. I turned on the lamp, grabbed my phone, scrolled until my eyes burned. I told myself it had to be a dream, a half-asleep hallucination, stress. In the morning, the window had 3 small smudges on it, like fingerprints, low to the ground. No one else saw or heard anything weird. They teased me about being jumpy and made jokes about my child ghost. I laughed along, wishing I could believe it was a joke. I can handle a lot. Weird noises, old houses, regular creepy stuff. But a disembodied kid calling you by name from a cornfield? That sticks. The second night is where it really went wrong. We'd all crashed early, exhausted from a day of hiking and pretending our lives were together. I double-checked the window. Locked. Curtains closed. Sometime in the middle of the night, my phone buzzed on the pillow next to me. I rolled over, half asleep, and squinted at the screen. New voicemail, no missed call. I frowned and put the phone to my ear. There was static at first, like wind over a mic. Then a soft voice came through. My voice. "Hey," it said. "It's me. I'm outside. Can you let me in?" I shot up in bed so fast my neck hurt. The recording kept playing. "Jenna, it's cold," my voice whispered. "Please, you're scaring me. Let me in." Then more static. Then nothing. I checked the call log. No incoming calls. The voicemail was just there. No number attached. No timestamp. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. Something brushed the outside of the window. Not a knock, more like a slow drag, like someone was sliding their fingers down the glass. "Jenna," the kid's voice whispered, "right outside. She's scared. Why won't you let her in?" I wanted to scream. I wanted to get up and run to the others and pile us all into one room like kids at a sleepover. But my stupid brain got stuck on something else. "She," the voice had said, "she's scared." "Who's scared?" I asked before I could stop myself. The whisper was right up against the glass now, as close as it could get. "You are." Every word sounded exactly like me. Not similar, not close. Me. Same rhythm, same little hitch in my throat. I lunged out of bed and yanked the curtain back. Nothing. Just the field, swaying gently, the stalks nearest the house leaning a little closer, like they were trying to see in. The whisper stopped. The air felt solid again. I stared at my reflection in the glass, wide eyes, messy hair, face washed out in the moonlight, and felt something click in my head. The field knew my voice. I didn't sleep the rest of the night, again. The next morning, I went exploring. The Airbnb host had left a binder on the counter full of local info. Maps, restaurant menus, handwritten notes about secret spots. I flipped through it while everyone else hunted for coffee. Halfway through, a newspaper clipping fell out. I picked it up. It was old and yellow, the ink faded. Local paper. The headline read, "Local boy, 7, missing in Cornfield. Search continues." The photo was of a little boy with big ears and a shy smile, standing in front of what was obviously the same house we were in. Same porch railings, same crooked step. My stomach dropped. The date was from 9 years ago. "What you got?" the bride asked, reaching for the clipping. I folded it in half without thinking. "Nothing, just some boring farm thing." I slid it back into the binder. That day, I couldn't relax. Every time we laughed, it felt like someone was listening from outside. Every time we took a picture, I checked the background for, I don't know, a face, a blur, something. Around 4, everyone decided to walk down the road to take sunset photos. I said I had a headache and stayed behind. As soon as the door shut, the house felt different, lighter in a way, like it was exhaling. I went to the back door. The cornfield behind the house was huge, bigger than it looked from the front. Rows and rows, stretching way past where I could see. The wind moved through it in waves, sending ripples down the stalks. It really did look like something alive. I walked to the edge. "Okay," I said out loud, feeling ridiculous. "Whatever you are, you know my name. I get it. You're clever. You scared me. Congratulations." Silence. "I'm leaving tomorrow," I said. "You can, I don't know, keep your missing kid, keep my voice, just leave me alone." The corn rustled. "Jenna." It was the kid's voice again, but it sounded farther away, like it was deeper in the field, not right at the edge anymore. "Come help me," it called. "Please, I'm lost." Something inside me twisted hard. I saw that newspaper clipping in my head, the little boy's face, the word missing. "What's your name?" I yelled back. "If you're real, tell me your name." Silence. Then, faint, "I'm you." No, absolutely not. I took a step back, then another. The corn leaves closest to me shivered, even though the rest of the field was still. "So that's how you work," I said, my voice shaking. "You sound like people, don't you?" A long pause. When the voice answered, it was my ex. Same sarcasm, same lazy drawl. "Come on, Jen, it's just for a weekend. We can talk." Then my mother, tight, impatient. "You can't keep doing this, Jenna, avoiding things." Then my own voice, layered over itself, too many copies speaking at once. "Come here, help me, let me in." It felt like my ears were going to pop. I clapped my hands over them, squeezed my eyes shut, and whispered, "Stop." The field went silent. When I opened my eyes, I realized I'd stepped closer without noticing. My toes were almost touching the first row. The stalks leaned toward me, the leaves angled down like hands. I backed up so fast I almost tripped. "Okay," I said. "Okay, I get it. You don't want help, you want company." The word company felt wrong, small. Whatever that field wanted, it was bigger than that. I turned and went back into the house, shut the door, and locked it. The rest of the day, nothing else happened. My friends came back, sunburned and happy, and we cooked and laughed and pretended that tomorrow wasn't going to scatter us back to real life. I didn't tell them what I'd figured out. How do you explain that a field knows your voice and wants to wear it like a mask? That night, I put earplugs in, pulled a pillow over my head, left the lamp on. I still woke up around 2. This time, it wasn't from a knock or a whisper. It was from the sound of my own voice, clear as a recording, coming from the hallway outside my door. "Hey guys, it's me," it said, cheerful, like I'd just gotten back from a walk. "You awake?" I sat up, dizzy. My room door was open a crack. Light from the hall made a thin line on the floor. I heard footsteps. They were wrong, off, too light, too uneven, like someone who wasn't used to walking on 2 legs yet, trying it for the first time. "Jen?" Tara mumbled from the room next to mine. "You okay?" My voice answered from the hall. "Yeah, I was just out in the field. It's so pretty at night. You should all come see." Every muscle in my body locked. Tara yawned. "You're insane, dude. Go to bed." Laughter. My laughter. Slightly too loud. "I'll be right back," the hallway voice said. "Don't fall asleep." The footsteps came down the hall toward my door. I moved before I could think. I jumped out of bed, slammed my door shut, and shoved my desk chair under the knob. The legs screeched on the floor. The footsteps stopped right outside. "Jenna?" my voice said, from the wrong side of the door. "Why'd you do that?" I didn't answer. The doorknob turned, slow and steady. The chair bumped as the door pressed against it. Gently, not hard enough to push it away, just testing. "Let me in," the voice said. "It's cold." I stared at the window. Normally, that's when you'd see a shadow there, right? Hands on the glass, horror movie moment? But the window was empty, because whatever this was, it wasn't outside anymore. The walls felt thin, like if I leaned on them, I'd feel breath. I stood there, shaking, while the knob turned back and forth. Then, from out in the corn, muffled by distance, the kid's voice yelled my name. "Jenna, help!" The thing at my door, the voice with my throat, stopped twisting the knob. "Don't go," it whispered. Still my voice. "You can't help her." Her, not him. Whoever was yelling from the field now, it wasn't the little boy. It was me. I don't know how I knew that, but I did. The panic in the voice, the way it hit my name, it was mine. "Please," the field version of me cried from outside. "You left me. Please let me in. It's so dark." My legs almost gave out. I clung to the desk, nails digging into the wood. The voice at the door spoke again, calmer now. "You're safe in there," it said. "Stay." The weirdest part was how reasonable it sounded, like it was giving me good advice. I stood there, stuck between two Jennas, one begging from the field, one standing at my bedroom door. I did nothing. Eventually, both voices faded into the rustling of the corn. We left that Airbnb the next morning. Everyone was a little more tired than they wanted to admit, but they blamed the wine and the late nights. They talked about coming back next year, maybe in the fall. I said nothing. As we drove away, I looked back at the house in the rearview mirror. For a second, just 1 second, I thought I saw someone small standing at the edge of the corn, a child-sized shape, hand raised, like they were waving. Then the road curved and the house disappeared behind the stalks. Life went on. I got a new job, a new apartment, a new routine. I laughed, I cried, I went to therapy. I did all the things you're supposed to do to get better. But sometimes, late at night, my phone buzzes. No number, no call, just a voicemail. I press play, even though I know I shouldn't, and I hear my own voice, faint and crackly, whispering, "I never left. You're the one who's in the wrong place." The last one was different, though. It wasn't asking to be let in. It was asking, in my voice, but with that kid's desperation underneath, "When are you coming home?" Where I grew up, every small-town rumor had something to do with that one cornfield at the edge of town. Miller's Field. If you drove past it in the fall, it looked like every other field. Gold and dense, leaves rattling, crows sitting on the wires. But the stories were different. People said if you walked all the way to the last row, weird stuff happened. You'd lose track of time. You'd hear your own future or your past or your dead relatives. Some kids said you'd meet yourself coming the other way. Most of us treated it like a dare. Back then, there were 3 of us. Me, my friend Mark, and his little sister Lily, who insisted on tagging along even though she was 3 years younger. The summer we turned 14, we decided to actually do it, for real. It was one of those heavy August afternoons where the air feels like syrup. We biked out to Miller's, left our bikes in the ditch, and stood at the edge of the field, sweating. "You guys are being stupid," Lily said, but her eyes were bright. She wanted to go just as much as we did. Mark grinned, shoved her shoulder. "You don't have to come, Squirt. Me and Ethan will be legends without you." "If you're going, I'm going," she said. "You'll get lost without me." We stepped into the field. I remember the smell of dirt and green, the way the sun barely got through the leaves. The tight feeling in my chest that I told myself was excitement, not fear. We walked between the rows, counting them as we went. 1, 2, 3. It felt important, the counting. Like, if we knew the number, it would matter somehow. Around row 20, Lily got tired of counting and started complaining. Around row 30, the sounds from the road were gone. Around row 40, it felt like we'd been walking for an hour, even though my watch said 15 minutes. The rows all look the same. The dirt, the stalks, the little torn leaves. But every once in a while, I'd notice something that made my stomach drop. A broken cob in the path, rotting. Then, 10 rows later, the exact same broken cob in the exact same spot. A loop of twine hanging off a stalk. Then again, and again. At row, I lost count. Mark stopped. "You feel that?" he asked. The air was heavy. Not hot exactly, just thick, like trying to breathe in a closet. "Last row's gotta be close," I said, because the thought of turning back felt like losing. He nodded, jaw tight. "We go till it changes. Then we go home and tell everyone it's just a field." I don't know how much farther we walked. Eventually, the path dead-ended. 1 second, there was dirt in front of us. The next, there was a wall of corn, the last row. It wasn't actually the last row, obviously. There were more stalks beyond it, but the path ended there. That was the rule, I guess. That's as far as you're allowed to go. The three of us stood there, staring at it. "Touch it," Lily said, voice too loud in the tight space. "That's what they say, right? Touch the last row." Mark looked at me. I could tell he was trying to act brave. His forehead was shiny with sweat. "On 3, he said, "we all touch it at the same time." We put our hands out. The leaves rustled like they were excited. "1, Mark said. 2, said Lily. We all held our breath. 3, I said. Our fingers brushed the stalks. The field inhaled. That's the only way I can describe it. The air around us rushed in, hard, like the whole world was a lung, and we were standing at the windpipe. It sucked the breath right out of my chest. Then, everything went flat. No sound, no rustling leaves, no insects, no heartbeat in my ears. I opened my mouth to say something and heard nothing. The corn in front of us parted. A narrow gap opened in the last row. Not a path, just enough space for a person to slip through sideways. Beyond it, I could see more rows, more dirt, more identical stalks, and something else. Myself. I was standing there, several rows down, facing the other way. Same shirt, same stupid bowl haircut, looking down the path like I'd lost something. "Do you see that?" I tried to ask. My voice didn't come out. Lily tugged my sleeve hard, her nails dug through the fabric into my skin. "Ethan," she mouthed, "we have to go." Mark didn't move. He was staring past me, eyes wide, like he was seeing something entirely different. His lips moved, forming silent words. "Mom? Dad?" He leaned toward the gap. I grabbed his arm, so did Lily. We didn't even think about it. We just knew, bone deep, that he wasn't supposed to step through. His muscles were like rope under our hands. The version of me down the path turned its head. It looked back toward us, and I swear to God, it smiled. Not a friendly smile, more like satisfaction. The gap in the last row started to close. Leaves brushed my bare arms. The air thinned, a sucked-out feeling. I yanked Mark backward as hard as I could. We fell into the dirt, all three of us, tangled up. The corn slammed shut in front of us. Sound crashed back in, leaves rattling, insects buzzing, all of it too loud. "Run!" Lily screamed. We didn't argue. We ran. The way back felt wrong. The rows blurred. Sometimes I was sure we were running in circles. Sometimes I was sure we weren't moving at all. We burst out of the field eventually, tumbling into the ditch by the road. The sun was lower, but not by much. We couldn't have been in there more than an hour. We biked home in silence. That night, Mark texted me, "Let's not talk about that, ever." I'd never agreed with anything more. We didn't go near Miller's Field the rest of that summer, or the next. Life moved on. We grew up. I went to college in another state. Mark stayed, got a job at his dad's hardware store. Lily left for the city as soon as she graduated. Every once in a while, I'd dream about that other me, the one in the field. I'd wake up with this heavy feeling, like I'd left something important behind. Then, last year, I got a call from Lily. "Mark's not okay," she said. "No hello, no small talk. You need to come home." I hadn't seen Mark in person in 3 years. When I opened the door to his house, he looked fine, normal, maybe a little thinner. "Lily's dramatic," he said, rolling his eyes, pulling me into a hug. "I'm fine, dude." But he wasn't. There was something off in his eyes, a distance, like he was watching himself move from somewhere else. We hung out that night, the three of us, drinking beers in his backyard, reminiscing. It almost felt like old times. Then Lily went inside for a minute. Mark leaned closer, voice low. "Do you remember the last row?" he asked. My throat closed. "We said we wouldn't talk about that," I said. He didn't smile. His eyes were fixed on the dark line of trees beyond the fence. "It's still there," he said. "I think about it every day, Ethan. Every single day." I swallowed. "You're just stuck on it. That happens. We almost did something stupid. It scared us. Our brains latch on." He shook his head. "That's not it. I mean, yeah. But also," he rubbed his palms on his jeans like they were sweating, "sometimes I remember things that didn't happen. Whole conversations, whole days, with people who don't exist, places I've never been." I stared at him. "I thought I was going nuts," he said. "Then I realized something. Those memories, they're always from the same angle, like I'm always standing in the same place. You know where?" He looked at me, really looked, the way you look at a stranger you think you recognize. "The last row," he whispered. "I remember my whole life from the wrong side of the corn." The backyard went very quiet. "I think," he said slowly, "some part of me stepped through anyway." Before I could answer, Lily slid the door open, carrying more beers, smiling too wide. "Okay, who wants to talk about literally anything else?" We dropped it. On the surface, anyway. A week later, I got the call. "Car accident," they said. "Single vehicle. Late at night, out near Miller's Field. Nobody else involved." The funeral was small and quiet. People said the usual things. Too young, so sudden. At least he didn't suffer. I went, because that's what you do. I shook hands, hugged Lily, stared at the closed casket, and thought about corn. After, I drove out there. The Miller place was abandoned now. The farmhouse windows were boarded up, the big barn was sagging, but the field was still there. No one had planted it that year, but the stalks were tall anyway. Too tall, too dense for volunteer corn. It looked wrong. The no trespassing signs were old and sun-faded. I stepped over the ditch and walked to the edge of the field. The air changed the second I got close. Not in a dramatic horror movie way, just subtly. The birds sounded farther away. The highway hum went soft. My own breathing felt louder. "Hey," I said, feeling stupid. "Long time no see." The corn rustled. I put my hand on the first stalk. The leaves were dry, rough under my fingers. "I'm not going in," I said. I need to know something." The field listened. "Did you get him?" I asked. "Is that what this was? You wanted him and not me?" Nothing. Then, from deeper in the rows, I heard Mark. "Dude," he called, exasperated and laughing, like we were 15 again. "You're taking forever. Last one to the barn has to pay for pizza." My chest hurt. I forced myself to stay put, to not step in. "Not funny," I said. The voice moved, drifting between the stalks. "Ethan," it called, "come on, just one more time. We do it right this time." I dug my nails into my palm. Behind me, gravel crunched. Someone had pulled up on the shoulder of the road. I turned around. It was Lily. She got out of the car slowly, like she was stepping onto thin ice. "I knew you'd come," she said. We stood there for a second, just looking at each other. Older now, more tired. "Do you ever feel like this isn't it?" she asked, gesturing around. "Like we left something unfinished, and everything since then has been, I don't know, a copy?" I almost laughed because, yeah, all the time. "He told you too?" I asked. Her eyes filled with tears. "He didn't have to," she said. "I dream in rows. I wake up and still smell dirt." We both turned back to the field. The corn was swaying gently, even though there was no wind. "I want to see it," she said. "The last row, just once, to know I'm not crazy." "No," I said, too fast. "Absolutely not. You saw what happened to him. I'm not losing you too." She gave me a look I remembered from when she was 10 and insisting on tagging along. "You can't protect me from something I'm already in," she said. That sentence made my skin crawl. She stepped forward. I grabbed her arm. "Lily, please." She looked at my hand on her sleeve, then at my face. "Come with me," she said. "If we go together, maybe." She didn't finish. Maybe what? Maybe we'd cancel it out? Maybe we'd both get stuck instead of one of us? I shook my head. "I can't." The field rustled, impatient. "Ethan," it breathed, in a dozen voices at once. Mark's, mine, Lily's, people I didn't recognize. "You already did." My stomach flipped. I thought of that day, years ago. The gap in the last row. The other me, smiling. The pressure in my chest when we yanked Mark back. What if the last row didn't care about what we did with our bodies? What if it grabbed something else? "Go home," I told Lily. "Please, forget this place." She smiled sadly. "You know I can't," she said. Before I could stop her, she stepped between the rows. The air swallowed her. 1 second she was there. The next, the corn closed around her like water. "Lily!" I yelled. I almost went after her. Almost. Then I remembered something stupid. That day, when we were kids, I'd turned around once in the field and walked backwards for a few steps as a joke, pretending we were rewinding time. What if that mattered? Some panicked, irrational part of my brain whispered. What if that saved you? So I did the only thing that felt right. I took one step into the field. Just one. The air thickened, pressing against my chest. Whispering started up all around me, words just out of reach. I closed my eyes, and I walked backward. Not forward deeper into the rows, backward toward the road. Every instinct screamed at me to turn around, to see where I was going, to look for Lily. I didn't. I kept my eyes closed and counted my steps out loud, just to drown out the whispers. 1, 2, 3. The corn brushed my arms, my shoulders, my cheeks. The whispers got louder, frustrated. "Come back," they hissed. "You're facing the wrong way." Somewhere, faint and distant, I heard Lily call my name. My voice cracked. I kept counting. 9, 10, 11. On 12, my heel hit gravel. I opened my eyes. I was standing on the shoulder of the road. The field was in front of me, quiet and still. Behind me, my car door was open. The engine was running. There was no sign of Lily's car. No skid marks, no fresh tire tracks, nothing. For a second, I convinced myself she hadn't been there at all, that I'd imagined the whole thing. Then my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. It said, "Last one to the barn has to pay for pizza." I almost dropped the phone. Another message came in, this time from Lily's number. No words, just a picture. It was blurry, like it had been taken mid-movement, but I could make out rows of corn stretching into the distance. In the middle of the path, a man was standing with his back to the camera. He was wearing my shirt. 3 dots appeared, like she was typing. Then, the typing stopped. No more messages came. People ask why I never go back to my hometown. I tell them it's because there's nothing there. There is, though. There's a field and a last row and a line I won't cross again. Sometimes, at night, when everything is quiet, I swear I can hear it from my apartment window, even though I live hours away. The sound of corn leaves brushing together, almost like hands rubbing, counting, waiting. And every once in a while, when I look in the mirror, there's a split second when my reflection looks like it's standing somewhere else. Some narrow, dusty path with walls of corn on either side. And it's smiling.